Hello, I'm Heather Clancy here at the Sidebar with Jessica Cheng, Vice President of ESG and Sustainability for Citi. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Heather. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you could be here. Thank you so much. So I know that you focus on a lot of different things, but let's talk about mostly sustainable finance right now. So you refresh my memory. What are some of your priorities for this year? You know, where are we sort of in the roadmap of your priorities?
So, you know, Citi has been in this space for quite some time,
Yes.
both sustainability and sustainable finance, and we've had, you know, over 2 decades now of time to kind of build our track record and our leadership in this area. And right now, you know, our overall priorities obviously include things like net zero. You know, our ambition to achieve net zero by 2050, which has been a hot topic here at GreenFin. In addition to that, we also have a number of kind of social priorities, right? As a bank here in the US and globally, thinking about how we can maximize our social impact in the markets in which we operate. And like you mentioned, a priority that really ties all of that together is our sustainable finance activities. So last year in the spring, we announced a $1 trillion commitment to sustainable finance by 2030. And what that means is that we're aiming to finance and facilitate $1 trillion in environmental and social activities with our clients and through client transactions to really help, you know, address the needs of society, whether it be in areas like environmental issues, you know, looking at clients who have to transition to a low carbon economy, and also social issues. So broadly kind of supporting the sustainable development goals.
So so you mentioned the $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. So where are we in that commitment? How much has been deployed? You know, can you give us an update on that?
So it's a 10-year goal with 2020 as our first year. And so in the past 2 years, we've been able to finance and facilitate $222 billion in sustainable finance activity, which we're quite proud of. It kind of sets us on a good path to achieve that $1 trillion. But obviously, I think when we set the goal, we knew that it wouldn't be, you know, an easy target. It's not something we think we can achieve by kind of continuing on business as usual. I think we realize that with our core businesses and engaging with clients, we'll have to really change things up a little bit to really increase our efforts in both environmental and social finance.
Can you give me some examples of some of the investments that are part of that update that you just gave us?
Yeah. So last year, sorry, I'm trying to work with the chat.
I know.
You know, we did a lot of really great transactions. Some of things like, you know, in Africa, providing off-grid renewable energy options, solar options to communities that, you know, have been off the grid, do not have access to energy. And that was a really great example because it really is a transaction that shows both the environmental side and the social side, right? Ideally, you want environmental transactions that also provide a social benefit. We've also seen transactions with clients that are sustainably linked, which essentially means our financing is tied to sustainability metrics for the client. So, you know, helping them achieve goals like increasing representation of minorities, women in leadership, as well as, you know, sustainable assets under management, things like that.
There's been a lot of talk about that here as well, the bonds market and sustainably linked bonds, transition bonds. Are those all part of the sustainable finance goals at?
Yes. Yeah. So our goal covers, you know, a breadth of different types of products, financial products, and transactions, and we try to be very transparent about all of that. So it is included in the goal, and we report on goal progress annually in our ESG report, and we kind of show you, you know, what comes from sustainably linked products because people have kind of different opinions of them. So
I know, and maybe this isn't your area, and if it is, we'll just move on to another question, but there's a lot of loans that Citi is starting to put out, like for commercial business, smaller companies. So it's not just a big bond or, you know, maybe smaller companies can participate. I'm just wondering is that something you can address, how a smaller organization could benefit from this sustainable finance?
Yeah, of course. So it's very interesting. You're right. With bigger companies, you know, they have targeted loans they're looking for, perhaps for a big project, right? But with smaller companies, what we've seen is we definitely want to support them with, as part of the goal as well. And what we've seen is there are a lot of smaller companies that are now focusing either on specific efforts or projects, or just companies where their core business is something that aligns with kind of our sustainable finance criteria, right? If they're in a renewable energy business and they're just starting up, we're happy to kind of support that as well. And to the extent that it meets our criteria, we count that towards our goal as well.
Great. Well, so I know that we're going to expect a bigger number from you sooner in the future. I really appreciate the update here at Sidebar today, and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
And we'll go back to one more interview before the main stage program, but after this break.